Isn't it wild that Google named their AI search Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect? Like, there's no way that that's a coincidence. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yap Therapy. How are you doing on this fine Thursday? I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm like, what season are we in? It's still Sagittarius season. And, it's funny. I feel like, okay, December being Sagittarius season, most of it makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me, and usually I can make sense of astrology, the timing, like why certain signs are why certain seasons, are during certain holidays. Like it all usually makes sense to me, right? The fact that like the last week of December, like Christmas, New Year's, that weird in between week, that's like a vacation for most people. It doesn't make sense that that's Capricorn season. I don't get it. I don't understand it. If you can bridge that gap for me, if you have any idea why that is, make it make sense, because it don't feel right. And also, I feel like, I don't know, Sagittarius season was a little strange this year. I don't know if you guys had a joyous Sagittarius season, but I feel like Sagittarius season this year, maybe it was because of Mercury retrograde, it just felt different. It didn't feel like as fun. That's how I personally feel. Maybe it's also the general doom and gloom of the human experience in 2024 in America. That could very well be the reasoning. But yeah, let me know if you have figured out why. Why, oh, why that last week of December just had to be the beginning of Capricorn season, because that shift is drastic. It's very drastic. So I watched Love Island Australia this season, and honestly, I watch every single Love Island franchise. I am just obsessed with that show. It is just so entertaining and fun. I started off with the UK one, the OGs, obviously, and then started to watch Love Island USA, and then I figured out there's Love Island Australia, and this season of Love Island Australia was really, really good. It was just juicy. Usually, like, you can tell when a cast, like, has that it factor. Like, you could just tell the chemistry, the synergy is just really good, and it's gonna make a really good season. And this was one of those seasons. Love Island Australia, season 6. And it was so funny. I was watching one of the episodes, and they actually used a product placement ad in one of their episodes, and they essentially had them use Google Gemini. And if you don't know, that's Google's AI search tool. It's called Gemini, Google Gemini, to ask if their zodiac signs were compatible. Like, they were on a date and then, like, having a normal conversation, getting to know each other, right? Like, their first initial date. And then out of nowhere, the girl, like, whips out, oh, like, they started talking about astrology. She's like, are you into that? He's like, I don't know much, but I know I'm, like, a Taurus. And she's like, oh, I'm a Virgo. And he's like, is that good? Are we compatible? And she's like, I think so, with her little Australian accent. But then she whipped out her Google Pixel or whatever Google phone it was. And then they used Gemini, their AI search tool, to, ask, are Virgo and Taurus compatible? And then, it said the answer. So they were compatible, obviously, because they're both earth signs and they get each other. And they honestly, in the show, these two, they actually just vibed from the beginning. It just felt like they made each other feel really safe. And it just seemed like they got each other very quickly. And then it made sense knowing that they're both earth signs. And I just thought that was so funny because it was unexpected. But yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. Sometimes I feel like astrology shit can be cheesy when people try to like add it into movies and shows sometimes. But I feel like, it was just unexpected and I liked it. And I liked that they were compatible. That was really fun. And that shit really made me realize, like, isn't it wild that Google named their AI search Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect. Like, there's no way that that's a coincidence. Everyone, I fully believe that everyone that is in any sort of position of power, most of them, they use astrology. And you might think I'm crazy because you're like, no, not everyone. But I promise you, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people in politics, a lot of people in power, they have astrologers on their team. They do. They really do. And if you didn't know, when astrology was first a thing in the olden times, and I'm Persian, so in my culture, like, astrology was something that we used. Like, a lot of our empires, a lot of the kings, like, it goes way back when it comes to my culture. So yeah, a lot of kings and queens, not just Persian ones, a lot of them in history had astrologers on their team, on their council. They used astrologers. So I think it would be dumb if we didn't think that people that are in positions of power today don't have astrologers on their team. I think actually, I assume that most of them actually don't want people, that's why they don't talk about it often, don't want everyone else to use the power of astrology to get ahead in life. And call me a pessimist, but I genuinely think people that are in positions of power, some of them, most of them, they don't want to share their secrets with the general public. And I think one of those secrets is, using astrology to figure out the best timing to do anything to get the best result. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very powerful tool for getting what you want, for using the energy of the universe for specific things. That is the power of astrology. It's not, oh, what's going to happen in the future? It's, oh, what are the planets going to be doing in the future? And because of the energy of those planets, maybe me doing this at this time that correlates with the energy of that planet will make this thing happen faster. You know what I mean? Or, hey, if I'm trying to do something and the energy on that day is not looking so good, let's look at another day so I can get better results instead of, using the negative energy or the intense energy of that day and risking it. That is the power of astrology. So I think a lot of people in positions of power understood that. They hired people who believed in that, who were experienced astrologers, and they were very much valued in their societies at that time. And, we're getting back to that place. And even just Saturn and Pisces, ever since Saturn entered Pisces, I think a lot of people are feeling more inclined to learn more about spirituality, astrology. Obviously it was happening before, but I feel like ever since, I don't know, a few years back, spirituality has becoming bigger and bigger, has been becoming bigger and bigger. And a lot of people are finding interest in those types of topics. And I love it. I think it's amazing. I think it's crazy how, history does repeat itself, but I wonder why it goes away. Honestly, it was probably when they were like, oh my God, she's a witch, burn her at the stake. I would imagine that's when people didn't want to believe in spirituality. It's so annoying though. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if it was a tool that, our ancestors used, and then more of that knowledge was passed on to us from an early age, and we were able to utilize that to live a better life. You know what I mean? Like, that would be amazing. So it sucks when that type of knowledge is pulled away from us or from our ancestors, and we kind of have to get back into it again and start from scratch. But it is what it is. I'm really grateful that I live during a time where I am able to learn these things, talk about them with you guys, and talk about them with my friends, and feel like I can talk about them and that it's not unsafe for me to do so. Like, I really think about that shit. Like, sure, thinking back, sometimes I look at the past and I look at history and I'm like, oh wow, like, things were so much more simple back then, right? Like, they didn't have to deal with like phones and like social media and like, just a lot of crazy shit, right? And I'm like, it just seemed like it was more simple. But then I think about how much freedom we have, and especially as women, obviously, and how we are able to learn about anything we want to learn about. And we are really able to express ourselves, Granted, you may not always get the best response, but we are able to express ourselves out in the public, without being shunned and shamed. And I'm really grateful for that. I personally think with my personality and my general hate towards authority and my, sassiness and clapbacks and, just wanting to do shit for the sake of putting people in their place, that would get me in a lot of trouble if I were to have been born in other eras. Let's just say that. I would have definitely been burned at the stake. I would have definitely just been, oh my God, bad things would have happened. Bad things would have happened to this Scorpio Sun, Gemini Moon. But I'm not alive at that time, so we don't got to worry about that. I saw this meme on Instagram that was about Leos. I'll post it here. It said, "You are so hot." And then Leo responds, "Okay, then tell me exactly how in very specific detail, very loudly into this microphone." Listen, this did things for my Leo Mars. And I just feel like Leo placements get a lot of heat for being like conceited and into themselves. But if you're not going to be conceited and into yourself, why would you expect anyone else to be? Right? What did anyone ever get for being humble? I genuinely want to know. Like, let me know. Because if you're getting something for being humble, maybe I should know about it. Because genuinely, I just hate this idea that we all have to be humble and that we should shame people that aren't humble. Granted, you guys, I'm not talking about like distasteful people that are just walking around being like, I'm better than you and I'm richer and I'm hotter and you're gross. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about confidence, like knowing that you're hot shit, owning it, and having, expectations of how people should treat you. And, you valuing yourself and telling the world that, yeah, I do love myself and I know I'm hot shit. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of confidence, why should it have to be dimmed? It just reminds me actually of exactly what Kamala Harris was saying in one of her, I think it was on when she was on Call Her Daddy, and she was like, she said something along the lines of, she was clapping back at this fucking racist bitch. She was saying something along the lines of, actually, some of us have no need or desire to be humble. And it made the people go crazy, me included, like in the best way. Like, we were like, yes, like, especially women, I feel like we are told like, okay, like, be more confident, like, don't be so insecure. And then like when you are confident and you're not insecure, oh my God, be more humble. That quiet confidence is what you need. Like, you can't get it right either way. And that is so annoying, but I feel like if I had to pick between one, I'm gonna be confident. I'm gonna be cocky. Sure, call it cocky. Actually, yeah, I would call it cocky, because guess what, you guys, if you don't think you're hot shit, why would you expect anyone else to? And I think Leo energy understands that. It's not even that they understand it, it's just the energy that they were literally born with. They walk into a room and they know what they have to offer. They talk to people and they can't help but low-key a little bit brag about themselves, because you are, every day you wake up, you guys, you are selling yourself to the universe. Like, it's not a matter of like, you're being like a sleazy car salesman, or, you're giving your like elevator pitch every time you meet someone. I mean, like, in the way that you present yourself, in the way that you communicate, in the story that you share, how you describe yourself to people, or how you show up, even just the way you look is sending a message to the world around you. And I feel like Leo placements really, really understand that, and they lead with that. And I think a lot of us should get more comfortable with being confident. And if you are confident, there's no such thing as being too confident, genuinely. Again, I'm not talking about the kind of confidence where you're openly putting other people down, I think if you want to be cocky and confident, do that. But also, you should be giving that same energy to other people. Like, you just believe in them deeply. You know what I mean? You see someone looking good, you're like, oh my God, yes, you're looking good. Because, if you're just doing that for yourself and you never give other people any sort of like compliments or confidence or believe in them, then you're just like arrogant. You know what I mean? But I think when you are being confident and even cocky, but you're the number one person to tell someone that they're doing amazing and that you notice how great of a job they did, you're putting them up. That's the kind of confidence that no one can say shit about, because you're just that kind of person. You're that bitch. You know what I mean? Or you're that man. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us could learn that from Leo energy. And I think a lot of people like to talk shit about Leo energy and how into themselves they are. But once again, if you are not into you, how do you expect anyone else to be into you? You know what I mean? If someone is telling you A, B, C, and D, and this is why I want you, and this is why you're so great, and you're not confident, every time they tell you how amazing you are, you are going to feel weird and you're going to self-destruct because you don't believe them, because you don't think that about yourself. So you could literally have someone amazing, someone that wants to show you how amazing you are, treat you the best, always pour into you. But if you do not feel that way about yourself, you're left confused. You know what I mean? Or you're thinking that they're lying and they're just, saying shit just to say shit, So all of that is just fucking with your mojo. So if you have a hard time accepting compliments, I think a lot of people struggle with that. I need you to work on that. And the easiest way to do that is when someone gives you a compliment, just say thank you. You know what I mean? If you are feeling frazzled and you feel like, no, oh, it's nothing. Oh, you know what I mean? Stop that. Just say thank you. And even if it feels unnatural, that's fine. Because after a while, it's going to feel natural. Accept the compliments that people give you. You know what I mean? Let people validate how amazing you are. Say yes. Okay, thank you. You know what I mean? I've noticed that it's so normal for so many people to feel uncomfortable with positive feedback or people complimenting them, and they just get shy or weird or they try to deny it. And that just makes me sad. Accept it. Because you know what? A Leo would. A Leo would. Listen, every zodiac sign has their thing that they're good at. For Leos, it's their ability to own who they are and be authentic and believe in themselves and be confident, And every time you want to be confident, even if you don't have a Leo personal planet or any other sign, you know what I mean? Whatever their thing is. If you want to be good at that thing, think to yourself, what would a Leo do? Ooh, what would a Leo do? You know what I mean? Just think about that. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know everything that's going down with Luigi. And if you don't know, get out from under that rock that you're living in. But don't worry, I'm here to tell you about it. Basically, a CEO of a healthcare company got shot. And obviously, I just have to say, yes, murder is not the answer, blah, 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 right? But there are specific circumstances, right? This is why people are rallying behind Luigi, the alleged, because there's no proof yet, murder of the said CEO. And if you don't know anything about the American healthcare system, I'm just here to tell you simply that it is fucked. It is so fucked. It is just demoralizing, and there is no sense of ethics here. I mean, on a lot of things, and a lot of systems in America, ethics seems to be lacking. And the healthcare system is an example of that, a very large example. I think if you are even living somewhere else from America, I'm sure you've heard about how bad it is here. It is literally so bad that people do not want to put their families through debt. Because if you have medical debt, then it'll go towards your family when you die, right? When you pass away. So it is not uncommon for people to just choose to not take the care because their medical claim was denied, because they don't have insurance to pay for it, because these companies don't accept your claims. And now you are forced to pay out of pocket and go in debt for the rest of your life, or sadly, just wait to die. And that sounds so dark, but it is the truth, you guys. It is the truth. They have made the healthcare system here, besides the fact that it's fucked, it's also confusing, certain claims don't get accepted. You have to call, and someone else is telling you to call this person, and then now you're calling that person, and they still don't help you. You know what I mean? And I think about this. I have this conversation with my friends. Even someone who speaks fluent English, it's confusing, and you have to talk to 10 different people. I put myself in the shoes of immigrants because I'm an immigrant. My mom doesn't speak English. I think about these people that don't have the best English, right? And they're fucked, and they have to talk to these people and these insurance companies and these doctors' offices. They are just playing the blame game or saying you need to call this person. They're just confusing you, right? And I just put myself in the shoes of people that don't speak English that well. And in America we have a lot of immigrants, right? So I just hate thinking about just how fucked they have everyone here, especially immigrants, and genuinely everyone. You know what I mean? everyone, especially the working class. And Luigi's mom, from what I have heard, was going through something, and she was deciding not to get, the care because her claim got denied, right? And she didn't want to go in debt. She didn't want to leave her family debt. So allegedly, that is why it was very personal to him. And I get it. I fucking get it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I do. I empathize with him. And I think a lot of people in our country do. You would be heartless not to. But it's so funny because our media is so out of touch with reality. Or, you know what? They very much know what's happening. And I mean, obviously, we know most of it's propaganda. It's about who's in their pockets and what kind of message they want to send to the world and our country based on whoever it is that is in their pockets. A lot of these news channels are talking about how, oh my God, like, people are just so messed up on the internet and everyone is just making excuses for this man. When did it become okay for people to murder each other? And it's like, you guys are so out of touch with reality. You do not understand why we're not that phased. You know what I mean? We're unfazed. You don't understand why we're like, sucks to suck. Oh, I mean, that really sucks, but like also makes sense why he did it. I'm on his side. Like, you really don't get it. The working class has been fucked with for so long in this country. The income gap is insane. You know what I mean? So these CEOs that are making millions of dollars on their private jets are doing that because their employees are breaking their backs. Most of them getting paid minimum wage so you can have that luxury lifestyle. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy to think that they can make these big decisions, the medical industry specifically, for so many people. You don't understand how many people. Let's even think about that specific, CEO. I'm sure there are so many more, and there are so many more. And these pharmaceutical companies, they are doing the craziest shit, and people are dying every day as a result of them doing this crazy shit. These CEOs, the decisions that they're making, right, to be even richer. You don't think people are dying on their hands? Like, really, really think about that. And the thing is, I don't think these people that are creating the news and on there, they're not stupid. They're not dense. They know these things. But it's just crazy to me that they're trying to guilt trip us. It's like, no. And every part of this is giving, the reason I'm bringing this up is every part of this is Pluto and Aquarius. You know what I mean? Every part of this is, the change in power, the people coming together and really, really being fed up in the cards that we've been dealt and really feeling like, the people in power, the power's just been disbalanced for so, so long. And I think a lot of people in this country and in the world, it seems like, are realizing that unless we take our power back, it's not going to be given to us. Like, it's not just going to balance itself out ever. And again, I'm not saying violence is the answer, but what I am saying that at this point in time, we, the people, are not just going to sit back and take it anymore. And I think I saw something really, really powerful. God, I love Gen Z. And I'm on that cusp of Gen Z millennial. So like, I relate, I was on TikTok and someone that is Gen Z was talking about how, listen, you expect us, the generation that quite literally, sadly, is immune to gun violence because of the rise of school shootings, how normal they are, to care about a CEO dying. Like, literally think about that. Literally think about this generation that has seen their friends and peers die in front of them and has been begging. And their parents have been begging. They've been begging for some sort of change when it comes to gun violence. You know what I mean? Because they're quite literally having to walk with bulletproof backpacks. Like, what even is that? And they're seeing, like I said, their friends and peers die. But you expect this same generation to care about one CEO dying? It is just crazy. And when they spoke about this on their TikTok, I was like, oh my God, yes, exactly. When you are so immune to it, how do you expect us to care? Actually, like, how do you expect us to care about this one person that was so, so powerful and was getting away essentially with murder? This is a CEO of a company that was denying people's claims. And it's just crazy to me that the news isn't talking about why the people are having this reaction. Like, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because of that. Like, do your fucking research. You know why. Not even that. They probably don't even do the research. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Anyway, the Luigi memes have been giving. They've been doing everything right. And so I don't know if you guys know, but the reason he got caught is because he went to a McDonald's, and actually, like, the McDonald's employee is the reason he got caught. And that McDonald's, that specific McDonald's, if you go and check their reviews on Google, everyone is giving them, like, the worst reviews, saying there's, like, a rat infestation and, like, all this shit. And I love it. I love it. No one can even make me feel bad for it. I love it. I'm here for it. This is what happens when we come together as a society, as the people, and choose a common enemy. Because even though these people in power, yes, they have money and power and pull, but the scariest thing to them is when we all agree. That is the scariest thing to them, because there's a lot of us, you guys, and our dollars, you know, what we choose to spend our money on, it makes a difference. And when we realize that, and when we come together and we make these big decisions as a society, that is when these people in power get scared. That is why they love dividing us, you know, because when we don't agree, we're fighting amongst ourselves instead of the common enemy, which is them. So yeah, I just feel like that was a very Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius rant, but I just had to speak on it. And I know one of you guys actually had commented in the last podcast talking about how this case, Luigi's case, is very much Pluto and Aqua vibes. And I thoroughly agreed, and it was already on my list to talk about in this podcast. Okay, speaking of him too, oh my God, if you guys don't know, his lawyer is just iconic. Like, everything about his lawyer is giving, like, Italian mob low-key, but in the best way. Like, his lawyer is so sassy. There was this one where he was, like, talking to the press, and they said something about evidence. He's like, what evidence? Like, actually, no, this is how much evidence I have. Do you guys see this? This is how much evidence I have. He literally put his hand out, was like, this is how much evidence I have. And I loved it. And I feel like this is exactly what we need. Like, it's giving, like, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, but, like, better and also more important. I feel like this case, whatever happens, it is going to go down in history. You know, it is definitely going to be something that the kids are going to talk about in, you know, 20, 30, 40 years. Well, unless the government wants to delete it from history, which they have a history of doing. But no, I feel like it is definitely going to go down in history because it's going to talk about the revolution. You know, it's going to talk about what went down when the people were fed up with our healthcare system. And it's so funny because it actually reminds me of, oh my God, when the election was happening, the FYP, my page was giving on TikTok, and someone was talking about, you know, stupid people, obviously, making fun of them. And it was this post where someone was like, yeah, I hate Obama, blah, 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 blah. Obamacare was so stupid. And then they didn't know that the Affordable Care Act was Obamacare. Like, that's what they didn't know. They were like, why would they name it that? Why would they confuse us? And they, like, voted against it because they thought it was Obamacare, when really they wanted the Affordable Care Act. But because they hated Obama, they were like, oh, I hate that. And they voted against it. And then when they found out what it was, they needed it. So they were like, that's so dumb. Why would they confuse me like this? No, like, you're not being confused. You're just stupid. You know? You're just fucking dumb. I just had to say. This had nothing to do with what we were talking about, but it just made me think about people and their stupidity. And yeah, it should be shared because listen, if you're openly stupid, the least cruel thing that could happen to you is to be roasted, you know? That's like the most PG thing that could happen to you, and I low-key think you deserve it a little bit. Yeah. I saw this astrology list, and there's 3 categories, and I'm going to post it here, and we are going to talk about it. But before we do that, I feel like I have to give a trigger warning before we get to this list. What is the trigger warning, you say? The trigger warning is don't be triggered. That is the trigger warning, because I think with one of these categories, some people's feelings might get hurt. You know, and I get it. I totally understand, but this is just fun. And if your sign is in there, just look for your moon and go to another category. Just don't even associate with the first category if it hurts your feelings, you know? And also remember that I didn't make this list, you know? So you can't get mad at me for reacting to something that I found online, you know? Just go with me here. All right. Here's the list. The main 3 categories are the annoying main character, the lovable side character, the misunderstood villain. And I know you already know which one is the one that would probably hurt people's feelings, but it is what it is. Let's get into it. The annoying main character, Aries, Cancer, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius. Wait, I just realized all the freaking fire signs are here. Oh no. Okay. Yes. Listen, I don't think fire signs are annoying, but I know that a lot of people find them to be like obviously loud and proud, and I could see why maybe they would put them in this category, but they're still the main character. That is what I have to say about all of these five signs. I don't see main character anywhere else. So you could be annoying, boo, sure, but you're a main character, so can you really complain? You know what I mean? Yeah, Aries, obviously. Aries is really good at, making their problems your problems, They are really, really good at, like, being like, okay, like, I hate this today, or I hate that person today. Let's go deal with it. You're coming with me. And Cancer does that with their feelings. You know what I mean? They're like, we're feeling this today. And you're like, we are? And they're like, we are. And Leo is like the embodiment of the main character, but they can also, again, make everything about themselves. And maybe the side character is like, what about me? And Leo will be like, what about you? We're not talking about you. I am the main character. And Libra is just so caught up in their own little world and their own little problems and their own little life that they're like, yeah, like, why would we need to focus on you? Like, my life is so much more interesting. It gives very Kim K. You know what I mean? Like, Kim, people are dying. Like, Courtney to Kim. And Kim's like, oh, my earring's in the ocean. And then, of course, we have Sag. Sag wants to get involved in everything. That is what makes Sag the annoying main character, is they involve themselves in shit. Like, they're really, really good at being Captain Save-A-Ho when no one wants to be saved. But if they become obsessed with, like, something or someone or needing to make a point, they will drive that point to the ground all the way to fucking hell, And it could be 2 a.m. It could be 8 hours of straight arguing, and Sag will still have enough energy to put you in your place. If they feel like they're on the right side of history, like, Sag will go off and Sag will make it their whole entire personality for 2 to 3 business days to put you in your place in main character energy fashion, Okay, the next category, the lovable side character, Taurus, Virgo, Aquarius, Pisces. Ooh, aren't you guys just so agreeable? No, I'm not agreeable because, Taurus agreeable, Virgo agreeable, Aquarius agreeable. No, Pisces, yes. But you don't need to be agreeable to always be a good, solid, lovable side character. You just have to be the one that either gives like really good advice, is just there for your people, is able to show up for your people and be exactly what they need you to be. And I feel like all 4 of these signs are really good at doing that. Taurus is going to give you that sense of stability, right? They're going to keep you in check a little bit, but they're here for a good time. They're still Venus ruled, and they genuinely, as long as they like you, they're down to be there. As long as this is a place where they feel safe with you, they're down to be there, and they will ground you even if you're doing the craziest shit. Like, a Taurus will still be there. They'll be annoyed, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, let's just go home. But they're still there. They're still there if they love you. And that to me is a solid, solid, solid lovable side character. And Virgo is the friend that's like judging you, they're like judging you and you are just acting terribly, and Virgo will obviously call you out on it the next day and let you know that you are self-destructing and you need to be better. You need to do better. But again, much like Taurus, Virgo is still there. They're judging, they're side-eyeing you, but they're still there, and they're giving you advice, In any good movie, I feel like you usually have like a solid best friend or a sister or whatever, teacher, someone that is very much Virgo energy that you can run shit by, and they just give you some solid advice, That's actually when the best scenes happen, I feel like, in movies, is like when someone like fucked up, like big time, the main character. That fucking fire sign. Fucked up. Next scene. They go to that teacher. The teacher that was always a hard ass, you know? The teacher that was always on them. But they go to that teacher. And that teacher gives them some mind-boggling, life-changing advice. And then the movie, it just wraps itself in a perfect bow. All because of the advice they got from that Virgo teacher. You know? You know? You know. And then Aquarius. Aquarius is... Oh, the fire trucks are going off. It's giving Aquarius energy. Okay. You done? Okay. I will not lie, though. I love living in the city. And I know it sounds weird, but, like, I could never live in the suburbs and, like, have it be quiet. Like, all, like, the police sirens and the fire trucks and all that shit going off makes me feel safe, weirdly enough. Like, I love living in the city. And I'm grateful to be able to do so. Yeah, so Aquarius is that lovable side character that, like, is actually telling you to do the crazy thing and to, you know, not let anyone talk to you like that. Like, go off on the authority figure. Like, Aquarius is that side character, you know? It's that little devil on your shoulder that's telling you, yeah, fuck it. Like, you've been fucked with too many times. Like, go off. You know what I mean? Put that person in their place. They're that character that, like, in a romance movie or some shit, it's like that best friend that, like, at the, you know, 3/4 into the movie, you know, you're sad because, like, he fucked you over. He kept fucking you over, but he really fucked you over this time. And your Aquarius side character is the one that's like, you know what? I'm sick of you being insecure. I'm sick of you not standing up to yourself. You march on over to his apartment right now and put him in his place, you know? That is the Aquarius side character that I love. And then finally, Pisces. Yeah, listen. Pisces is actually the best lovable side character because they will cry with you. They will bake for you. They will do everything that you need them to do so you feel better, you know, in your situation. Like, Pisces is the person, is the friend that is there for you when no one else is, when everyone has given up on you, when everyone else is so over your shit. Pisces is that person that is still rocking with you and still sees your value even though you have done everything wrong, you know? Pisces sees through all that and they're like, I still love you and I still believe in you, and everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. That is Pisces energy. Get you a Pisces, but value them. Don't take them for granted. They will be there for you when everyone else is giving up on you, but you better treat your Pisces right. You better be there for them too. You better create a safe space for them and their wild imagination, you know? That's what Pisces needs. Okay, final category that we have. The misunderstood villain. Gemini, Scorpio, Capricorn. Dare we talk about the fact that this is my big three? I am, in fact, if you're new here, a Scorpio sun, Gemini moon, Capricorn rising. So all three of my big three is in the misunderstood villain category. And how do I feel about that? I feel great. I actually feel like this is perfect. I could not agree more. On a personal level and on an astrological level for these signs, this is genuinely the category that these three signs should be in. When you think about signs that are just like hated mostly online, or people that just, you know, maybe don't know that much about astrology, but they know which signs they hate, these are some controversial signs, obviously, mostly Gemini and Scorpio, but Capricorn too gets a lot of heat. And it's because we say it with our chest, we feel it with our chest, all three of us. And we're okay with being the bad guy, you know? When you're looking at a misunderstood villain, it's someone that has deep lore, you know? They don't just do what they do just to do it. Like, it comes from a place of hurt. It comes from not feeling understood. It comes from not feeling the need to explain yourself and doing what you need to do. And you're okay with being the bad guy because people are going to judge you anyway. Might as well do what you want. All three of these signs understand that. And I understand that. I actually always am rooting for the villain. I know that's crazy to say, but I am. I think every villain has a story, has a history, has deep lore, has trauma. And I think all of them, most of them, obviously I'm talking about shows, not like fucking historical villains. Fuck them. Like shows and shit. Like I feel like people, even if they are the villain, I usually believe in their ability to get their shit together, or even if they don't, if I understand their rage, if I understand why they are the way they are, I'm like, fuck it, be a villain. Like I'm that type of person where I'm like, you know what? Hell yeah, fuck that. Like this world has fucked with you, that person has fucked with you, this group of people has fucked with you, your parents have fucked with you. I understand why you hate the world, or you're a bitch, or you don't trust people, or you are the villain. Like I get it. Who am I to judge you? I personally understand that, and I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable expressing their negative feelings, and the fear that they'll be judged, or fear that people won't look at them the same, or they'll pull away. And all three of these signs don't care. And me being all three of these signs, yeah, I don't care. Like at the end of the day, I am made up of my negative and positive experiences. Why should I have to hide my negativity or my darkness to make other people feel comfortable when I know other people have that shit in them too? I'm sorry you haven't come to terms with the fact that you have negativity and darkness within you, but I have, and I'm not going to downplay it to make you feel comfortable. I am going to have boundaries, and I am going to take myself out of situations to deal with my darkness if I'm having a rough day. But I'm not going to pretend it's not there, you know? And I think all three of these signs, that is why they're the misunderstood villain. Gemini, for real, like that evil twin, they are comfortable with themselves, you know? Gemini doesn't care if people are going to judge them for what they have to say. They're going to say it anyway, and they're going to say it with their chest. And I enjoy that about Gemini energy, is that they don't back down, even though they're yappers, you know? And I feel like if you are a yapper, yeah, you have to be able to back your shit up, because you're saying so much shit, someone's going to have something to say about it. So you better have the energy to come back and let them know, yeah, I said that. It is what it is. Scorpio, need I say more? Like Martians, we're the internal energy of Mars. We're always playing that game of chess. And I think a lot of people, if you don't know Scorpio energy and you see how Scorpios act, you're probably like, that's an evil person. Like, why are they so vengeful? Why are they always want revenge? It's like, well, it doesn't come from nowhere, you know? Usually it comes from a place of hurt and pain. And it is what it is, you know? Obviously, therapy is great for everyone. But, you know, this is just a fun little post. So if you want to do therapy because you are tired of being the villain, go to therapy today. I encourage it. And then Capricorn, obviously, there's a reason why the Devil card is Capricorn energy in tarot, you know? Capricorn is also okay with being the bad guy because they know who they are, they know what they want, and they're not afraid of stepping on some toes to get it, you know? Capricorn knows how to get what they want out of life. That's where their motivation and their drive comes from, is because they see that end goal and they latch onto it, and everything else is a blur, you know? And that is what this self-discipline is for Capricorn, is the ability to have that goal and not look at anything else until you get it. And for some people, maybe that's villain energy, you know? And yes, I think Capricorn sometimes we, as a Capricorn rising, don't always consider everyone's feelings. But I also think it's too much to do that, you know? You're being inauthentic if all you're doing is, you know, thinking about everyone's feelings at all times, because then what are you feeling? You know, Capricorn and Cancer are that sister sign, right? Cancer is always aware of everyone's feelings, and Capricorn, I feel like, shuts off everyone's feelings and sometimes their own feelings to get what they want. So I think maybe that's why they can be the misunderstood villain. But it comes from a place of control, and it comes from a place of, more importantly than control, is it comes from their need of safety, you know? They know what they want because that's what's going to make them feel safe in this world. And they have that in common with Cancer, their sister sign. Cancer is all about security. Capricorn also wants that security. So they're able to maybe shut off their feelings to put in that work and get what they want out of life. All right, you guys, that is the end of this podcast episode. Thank you for kicking it with me and coming to Yap Therapy. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave me a review, and then come to the YouTube channel with my YouTube people, where you can comment about any of the topics I talked about, ask questions, comment what topics you want me to touch on next. I love hearing what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see y'all next week.